if your manager allows, you can enter the times you're available to work and go to Choose Times I Prefer to Work on your menu. You can let your managers know when you'd like to work or not work. These preferences will not create actual shifts on the schedule, but they will provide guidance for your managers when they're making decisions. When to Work offers two kinds of preferences. Repeating weekly preferences are for the situations that repeat every week. For example, you might have a class every Wednesday. Date-specific preferences are specific to just that date. For example, you might have a dental appointment, or your sister might be getting married. You don't need to repeat that every week. Let's begin with repeating weekly preferences. Click on the button. As you can see, preferences are color-coded. Green means that you prefer working at that time. Pink means you would rather not work at that time. White means you don't have a preference. And if your managers allow it, you can use red to mark the days when you really cannot work. Click on the color and then click on the day. For instance, if you cannot work on Sundays, click Sunday. Now, if you really do like working on Tuesdays, you might paint Tuesday green. You can also paint just part of a day. For example, if you know that you have classes every Wednesday morning from 8 a.m. until noon, you can go ahead and paint all the way from 8 a.m. until noon with a paintbrush. Alternately, you can enter them on the grid. Again, you would choose the color and then choose the date. Let's say that there's a class on Fridays from 3 p.m. until 5. Simply select those on the grid and click Add. When you've set up your repeating weekly preferences just as you like them, let's start with repeating weekly preferences. As you can see, the availability preferences are color-coded. Green means that you prefer working at this time, while pink means you'd rather not work. White means no preference, and if your managers allow, you can enter red for cannot work. For example, if you cannot work on Sundays, click red, then choose Sunday, and the whole day will be marked cannot work. Now let's say you're taking a class on Wednesday mornings. You can paint just the hours of that class, rather than choose the full day. If you really like to work on Tuesdays, you could color Tuesday green. And if you'd rather not work on Mondays, meaning you could work if you were assigned, but you'd rather not be assigned on Mondays, paint Monday pink. Now, if you have a class on Friday evenings, rather than paint the hours, you can click on the color, such as cannot work, enter the day and the time of the class right here on the grid, and click Add. When your repeating weekly preferences are finished, click Save. Now, every week into the future, you and your manager will see these preferences show up on the screen. Now, let's say these classes you're taking are going to end in April. You can come down to Future Weekly Preferences. These are your same repeating weekly preferences, but you can let your managers know that those are going to change in the future. Enter the date on which these will change. You can paint no preference over anything you'd like to erase. And then you can enter the times for the new classes you'll be taking, perhaps Thursday mornings and Wednesday afternoons. These preferences will not take effect until April 1st. Click Save. Now when you move through your preferences, you'll see that on the week of March 29th, you still have your Wednesday class for March, but on Thursday, you'll switch over to the April preferences, and then those will continue through the coming weeks. There's a note here reminding you that your repeating weekly preferences are set to change on April 1st. You can also set date-specific preferences. You can click on any day to set a specific preference for that date. When you click on the day, a grid comes up for just that day. Now, this won't repeat into the future, but you can simply update your preference for that day, perhaps marking it cannot work up until 6 o'clock, and click Save. The day is highlighted to let you know that those preferences are just for that day and don't repeat into the future. Remember, these are just your preferences. This isn't your schedule. Always check your schedule for your actual shift times. You can also set up your preferences in the When to Work app. Go to the menu. You'll find Work Preferences right there on the menu. Here you'll see your current preferences. All the preferences we set are right here. You can edit those preferences by clicking either Repeating Weekly or Date Specific at the bottom of your screen. Again, you'll simply tap on a color and simply tap the hours that you'd like to color. If you need to tap a partial hour, you can click by 15 minutes, tap the hour, and then choose which 15-minute increments you'd like to paint. You'll toggle through all the various colors until you get the one you want, and then click Apply and click Save. Select Date Specific and you'll see a calendar. Simply click on a date and tap a color to set preferences for just that one day. Or if you want to repeat that for the next 3 weeks, you could do that here too. Click Done and click Save. Now you have date-specific preferences set for the next 3 Thursdays. Go back to see the overview. The overview shows both your repeating weekly preferences and the date-specific preferences you might have set to override them. Those will be highlighted. Always rely on your overview to see all of your preferences in one place. Remember to always check your schedule to see the actual shifts you've been assigned.